Welcome to the Fox 54 Weekend Review. I'm Kenesha Dees. It's the only place in North Alabama to get the week's local headlines condensed into one program. This week's big story, Decatur's Rock the South Music Festival rescheduled just 2 days before the show was set to begin. The effects of the change went far beyond the soggy grounds. Here's the story.
Rock the South is still expected to make its first appearance on the fields at Decatur this weekend, but it might be more of a splashdown after all the heavy rainfall we saw over the weekend. It's not the first local festival to see heavy rain right before the headliners got on stage. Back in 2024, South Star Music Festival was canceled entirely because intense flooding made the ground a mud pit. Even last year, in Coleman, rainfall and mud at Rock the South got cars stuck and prompted several rescues. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us how the weather is impacting this year's festival prep.
It's still full steam ahead for organizers and local contractors with Rock the South, with prep work over the weekend and into this week moving despite the mud. It's still early to say how the fields at Decatur might look on Thursday, but that's not stopping hundreds of people from doing their part to get the festival grounds ready for thousands of attendees. And that's in the rain and mud, with several festival employees shaking off their boots and raincoats as they get everything set up. But several people in Decatur say they're concerned about the rainfall, saying the weather this week will determine a lot of the festival's planning and coordination.
The area they set up for a campground, they didn't lay down foundation. So there's going to be a lot of mud and slop. People are probably going to get their trailers stuck, or, it's not going to be a happy ordeal over the weekend. Would you like to go to a venue where, you spend your whole day slopping in mud, or you can't pull your trailer out? Nobody wants to do that.
It wouldn't be the first time the rain has caused some hang-ups in festival planning. Just last year, muddy conditions met two-wheel drive and caused several different instances of cars, vans, and trailers getting stuck. This time around, Rock the South staff say they're preparing for any weather condition to make sure people can get in and out without trouble. Organizers still say everything should be ready by Thursday, when the first festival goers are slated to arrive. In Decatur, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Rock the South staff says to prep for sun, rain, and any other circumstances, head on over to their website, which you can find on the fox54.com.
The biggest party in the South is leaving music fans high and dry this weekend. Rock the South has officially been postponed to October 1st through the 4th. That's where we start. I'm Caleb Aguayo. So, how did we get to this point? Peachtree Entertainment announced last October that the festival would relocate to a new venue at the Fields at Decatur, roughly 45 minutes north of Coleman, where it's been held for almost 15 years. But even before today's announcement, there were divided opinions on the readiness of the new festival site. Fox 54 spoke with a festival staff member yesterday who said they were confident that the show would go on at its scheduled time, while residents expressed their skepticism. Fox 54's Logan Alexandra Russell is in Decatur to tell us what's next for Rock the South.
Decatur city officials and Peachtree Entertainment announced Tuesday afternoon that they've decided to push back Rock the South due to the exceptional amount of rain over the last several weeks. It was supposed to be a historic debut at the brand new Fields at Decatur. Instead, the hundreds of acres meant to house thousands of country music fans are completely soaked. Peachtree Entertainment and Decatur leaders made the joint decision to postpone the 3-day festival just 48 hours before the gates were set to open.
Due to unprecedented amounts of rain across the state of Alabama this past week, the city of Decatur and organizers of Rock the South Music Festival today announced the rescheduling of the festival. The monumental rain that has fallen at the event site gives us no choice but to postpone the festival.
The festival will now run from October 1st through October 4th, with officials confirming all 3 original headliners, Zach Top, Jason Aldean, and Riley Green, are locked in for the new dates. And to make it up to fans, organizers are expanding the festival to 4 days, adding Jesse Murph, an Athens native, to the lineup on Saturday, October 3rd, at no extra cost to current ticket holders. While the lineup is secured, the delay creates an immediate headache for those who've already secured a hotel.
They need to reach out directly to those hoteliers and have that conversation with them. But we appreciate our hoteliers so much and the hospitality that they provide day in and day out, and they were ready to welcome guests. So I know that they will do the same thing in October as well.
Original tickets and camping passes will be honored for the new October dates. Full day-by-day schedules are expected in the coming weeks. In Decatur, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
And Rock the South may be months away now, but the impact of this week's postponement is already being felt. From attendees who can't make the new dates to local businesses who are expecting a busy weekend, people across the community are reacting to the change. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala now joins us live from Decatur. Valentina, how are people reacting to the news?
Yeah, Caleb, well, for a lot of people, the reaction isn't about the postponement itself. It's really about the timing, with some people telling me they were already headed to Decatur when they learned the festival was moving to October. Some ticket holders say they had already requested time off work and made hotel reservations. Others have taken to social media to sell their tickets, saying they can't make the new dates. And while many understand the challenges of building a new venue, some residents say they were frustrated that the decision came just days before thousands of people were expected to arrive.
There are likely people who are already on their way down here from different parts of the country. I know people have traveled from all 50 states to come here, and so it's probably, if I were one of those people, I would be upset myself. I don't think they were prepared. I know we've got a lot of people saying that there's a possibility of that, and of course the weather was a big reason why we rescheduled. However, I don't think Decatur was ready.
And it's not just festival goers feeling the impact. I spoke with a local Airbnb host who says they're now dealing with cancellations and trying to limit the financial hit from a weekend they expected to bring thousands of people. Live in Decatur, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
And thanks, Valentina. And while some hosts tell Fox 54 they're doing what they can to work with the guests affected by the change, they also say they'd like to see more consideration for local businesses and visitors who may now be out of money because of the last-minute change. It's not the first local festival to see heavy rain right before the headliners got on stage. Back in 2024, South Star Music Festival was canceled mid-event because intense flooding made the ground a mud pit. Even last year in Coleman, rainfall and mud at Rock the South left cars stuck, with some requiring rescues. And the festival started in 2012 when Coleman native Shane Quick organized a one-day concert at Heritage Park to raise funds for the community's ongoing recovery from the devastating 2011 tornadoes. By 2013, local momentum was so strong that Alabama native Sarah Evans joined the team as a host, and the festival expanded to a two-day format, drawing 35,000 fans. Growing pains hit in 2015, forcing a relocation from Civic Parks to York Farms. The 140-acre site sparked a new era, introducing on-site camping for the first time. But like every major live event, the festival faced unprecedented challenges. In 2020, gates remained closed as global pandemic restrictions forced organizers to cancel the show for the first time in its history. 3 years later, in 2023, the festival came back bigger than ever, expanding into a massive three-day weekend tradition, capturing the nationwide country music boom. That brings us to 2026, a year of huge logistical changes. The festival moved to a brand new permanent home at the Fields at Decatur, introducing a new second stage and now 4 full days of music, rescheduled for October following last Sunday's downpour. And you can find the full press conference announcing Rock the South's move to October on the Fox 54 app. Just scan the QR code right here. Download on your TV, watch for free. And even though Rock the South may be months away, the impact of this week's postponement is already being felt. From attendees who can't make the new dates to local businesses who are expecting a busy weekend, people across the community are reacting to the change. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala has more.
For a lot of people, their reaction isn't about the postponement itself. It's really about the timing, with some telling me they were already headed to Decatur when they learned the festival was moving to October. For some residents, the announcement confirmed concerns they'd had for weeks about whether the new festival site would be ready in time.
The weather was a big reason why we rescheduled. However, I don't think Decatur was ready.
But the frustration isn't limited to attendees. One local Airbnb host told me they're now trying to figure out how to accommodate guests without taking a significant financial hit. Meanwhile, a common theme online is people trying to sell tickets they can no longer use, while others say they're looking into refunds because the new October dates no longer fit their schedules.
This year we were gonna, again, fly to Tennessee with them and then drive to Alabama. So finding out less than 24 hours, right? We were leaving tomorrow morning. And so find out today that it's canceled. We're already here.
We traveled from Quebec, just outside of Ottawa. And so basically, it was 20 hours total in the car by the time we got here. And then we get here, and after that, we see that it's canceled.
We've had this plan for a long time, so it doesn't look like we're going to be able to in October, but we'll see.
And the impact may stretch beyond the fans. Some people point out that local businesses and vendors have spent weeks preparing for one of Decatur's busiest weekends of the year.
I have a couple friends that are vendors that go to other different festivals, right? It's the preparation, it's the supplies that they're preparing for. It's, hey, we count on this specific event, whatever it might be, as their income.
For many, the question isn't why the event was moved, it's why they found out so late. In Decatur, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
While refunds are available, some people tell us they're still left with other costs, including travel arrangements and lost bookings that may not be recoverable.
The postponement of Rock the South in Decatur is affecting hundreds of people who were originally planning to bring their business to the festival for some extra revenue this weekend. That includes food and drink vendors, artisans, stagehands, and local contractors who are supposed to help set up the venue before the show. Fox 54's Kate Baguayo shows us the impact the postponement is having on local restaurants and food trucks.
Local kitchens are feeling the burn after missing out on Rock the South this weekend. From the lost revenue to the food they're trying to keep out of the trash can, they say they're doing what they can to make it back. Dozens of food trucks like Casa Santiago ordered pounds of extra meat and vegetables to help feed the thousands of people they were expecting to attend Rock the South.
We ordered chicken, steak, fries, tomatoes, extra of a little bit just in case so we don't run out and stuff.
Some have a backup plan, like selling to local restaurants or even offering extra catering to make up for the loss of business.
We ordered some extra food. What we're trying to do is like give out some specials, discounts, bulk orders, especially for World Cup and stuff. So we're trying to do that so we don't have to waste the food and throw it away.
Meanwhile, other food truck owners like the Round Table ordered fresh fruit for their drinks, which can spoil in a matter of days.
We keep everything at our commissary, but there's only so long that you can keep fresh strawberries and peaches and mangoes without them spoiling. So you have to get it sold fairly quickly.
In addition to the food and gas costs, the Round Table also has to pay for extra employment to make their operation worthwhile. But even with other events this weekend, the Round Table's owners say they'll be lucky to break even.
The fresh fruit, that's something that you just can't get back. And lemons are not cheap right now. They're anywhere from $50 to $80 a case, depending on which food source you're getting them from and what counts you're getting them. We're going to have to make quite a bit of money back to be able to recoup and break even.
The impact is reaching dozens of food trucks and restaurants in Decatur, with many saying the sudden postponement will hurt them in the long run.
If we sell a lot, then we do, make a great profit, but we're not making, tens of thousands of dollars when we set up. So this is it's a blow when you don't have the backing for it and it just kind of comes out of your own business.
Now, many of those vendors are saying they're not sure if they'll come back in October, and if they do, they'll likely scale back what they order in advance. In Decatur, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
In addition to food vendors and the thousands of fans making the trek to Decatur, Rock the South's postponement is also impacting the expected profits for dozens of other businesses like hotels and towing companies. Last weekend's heavy rain impacted more than just the festival. Neighborhoods flooded, people had to be rescued from caves, and a bridge in Jackson County was impassable for days. Even pets were affected as a local animal hospital had to evacuate.
The rain may have moved out, but for many people in Owens Crossroads, the worst of the flooding is still moving in. Water continues to rise in some neighborhoods, forcing road closures and leaving some families scrambling to save what they can. In some of the hardest hit areas, floodwaters reached 8 to 10 feet deep this afternoon, and officials say more water is still working its way through the system. What started as a day of heavy rain has turned into a flooding emergency for parts of Owens Crossroads. As water from across northern Madison County flows south, creeks are spilling out of their banks, roads are disappearing underwater, and conditions continue to change by the hour.
We've got roads closed that weren't closed an hour ago, and quite frankly, we don't see any stop to it right away.
That's why crews have been moving from road to road, putting up barricades where water has taken over. And in some spots, what was passable in the morning isn't anymore.
About lunchtime, we had the Flint River began creeping up around homes and areas, T.E. McKinney Circle, Old Highway 431, and Old Big Cove Road intersection is blocked off also for high water.
For some families, what started as rising water outside has now taken over parts of their home. As water kept rising, Brittany Baker and her family rented a U-Haul and loaded up whatever they could before leaving.
We had animals underwater. We lost some animals from the water. We lost some chickens. And then our house is covered in water, and we have lost most of our furniture.
Baker says her family is checking into a hotel tonight. She's dealt with flooding before, but says even during the 2019 flood, the water never made it inside her home.
I have a pig. Yes, he's 300 pounds. And then I have 2 pigs, if anybody's looking for pigs.
As the water continues to move through the area, crews are keeping a close eye on trouble spots. Owens Crossroads Deputy Fire Chief David Whitman says residents should use extra caution around floodwaters, especially near homes with underground electrical service, where there could be an added risk of electrical hazards. And with some areas still difficult to reach, Huntsville Fire and Rescue is working alongside the Owens Crossroads Fire Department to help cover flood-impacted parts of the community. Officials are urging people to stay out of the floodwaters and avoid back roads if possible. And if you come across a barricade, don't go around it. Police say more roads could be closed as conditions continue to change.
The flooding we've seen across the area also made its way down into local caves, which prompted multiple rescues yesterday at 2 different caves in Jackson County. The Huntsville Cave Rescue Unit was part of multiple groups that went out to rescue a handful of people who became trapped when the caves flooded or sumped. CJ Jones, a member of the rescue party, describes what it took to get people out of the 2 caves.
This was a cave with vertical aspects, and it was a multi-drop with water involved, some waterfalls. And so that was the challenging part. Also, it was a more confined space type of area. In some of it, you were having to crawl, and it would have been incredibly difficult to have to try to get somebody out of there if they were not able to self-rescue.
Jones says there was no expectation the caves would flood as much as they did, adding the best prevention is to know what you're doing before you ever head inside.
Floodwaters in Scottsboro leaving several roads submerged and damaged days after the storm. The city hard at work repairing all but one busy street where the flooding was at its worst. That closure involves the bridge on Old Larkinsville Road, where floodwaters rose feet above the roadway and to the doorsteps of multiple homes, trapping several residents. FOX54's Caleb Agual shows us how the closure is impacting the people who live there.
The potentially damaged bridge has delayed hundreds of local residents who now have to go miles down the road to get into town. The problem is there's currently no timeline for when it could be fixed.
Personally, we just got to drive a few miles out of the way every day, anytime we're coming in and out going home.
Aaron Hall, who lives on Old Larkinsville Road, says this is how the area around his house looked just a couple days ago.
It was across the road there, so we couldn't get in or out either way. We was pretty much trapped.
He says the floodwater on Sunday covered the street and damaged several other roads in town.
The water started rising, and it just seemed like for about an hour and a half it just kept rising, surrounded our houses, and it was over the road, I guess, for about half a mile right here in front of our houses, and did not get up in the houses, but it got close.
The city isn't sure yet whether the bridge is damaged or not, but it's one of several roads closed for repairs this week.
We had several that had the shoulder blown out. We've already, that's what they done all day yesterday and some of today, but that's all been repaired.
Todd Bradford with the city street department says after the road work this week, the only street left closed is the bridge on Old Larkinsville Road.
That's out and pretty well indefinitely until that can be figured out. I'm sure it is extremely aggravating. If you live on the back side of that, it makes your drive into town probably 20 minutes longer.
It's unclear how long the bridge will remain out, with Bradford saying it all depends on when the creek water recedes. In Scottsboro, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Yeah, Bradford says once inspections are done, they'll decide whether to reopen the bridge. If they decide that bridge needs further repairs, it could cost Scottsboro millions of dollars to fix.
People weren't the only ones affected by the rushing floodwaters. Here in the Tennessee Valley, the rain also caught animals by surprise. Along Winchester Road, the rising waters forced a local animal hospital into emergency mode to save the animals in their care. Animals at the hospital were relocated to Chase Animal Hospital, where staff say they're doing just well. Take a listen.
Helena, their manager, reached out to me a little after 1 yesterday and said, hey, we've got a situation. She was on the way, didn't really know at the time how bad it was. Within an hour, hour and a half, they had their pets loaded up, and I told them, like, whatever we can do, we've got some extra space.
That rapid response sparked a life-saving mission in Madison County yesterday. Torrential rain quickly surrounded Winchester Road Animal Hospital, forcing staff to evacuate all the animals from inside the facility. Before word hit social media, clinic leaders managed to transfer 7 pets in their care to Chase Animal Hospital. Amid the chaos, the animals hardly even noticed the move.
They're all doing good. They weren't even stressed. It surprised me. Every one of them settled in nice, you know, even when we took them out to potty, and they were just happy as could be. So we were very happy that they weren't stressed about it, and even the transition and move didn't seem to bother them. So we're very glad that they've settled in and doing well.
Out in the pastures, horses on the property remained safe Monday night with a relocation plan in place. But the clinic was far from the only property affected by the rushing waters. Emergency officials report a staggering 3 to 7 inches of rain fell across the region. Neighborhoods along Winchester Road took the brunt of it all, with water entering homes and closing several roadways. The hospital posted on Facebook that while water levels receded late Sunday night, Winchester Road Animal Hospital will remain closed to assess its lower kennel area. The Winchester Road Animal Hospital says they plan to reopen tomorrow for appointments. However, boarding will be closed until further notice. They are also asking for industrial fans and dehumidifiers. You can learn more on how to help on FOX54.com.
Here in Huntsville, a major manufacturer celebrated a big anniversary. The city council looked at railroad and parking issues affecting residents. North Huntsville has a new home for healthcare, and local businesses celebrated big time for the first day of the World Cup. 25 years ago today, Toyota Motor Manufacturing of Alabama broke ground in North Huntsville for a new plant. That plant, still going strong today, has manufactured more than 11 million engines for a vast majority of Toyota's car lineup. Today, leaders from both Toyota and the North Alabama area celebrated this major milestone of 25 years, and they share how Toyota Motor Manufacturing of Alabama has affected the Tennessee Valley.
You know, we started with the Tundra engine, with the V8 engine, and now we're making over 1 million engines a year and 500,000 differentials a year. That's about 4,000 engines a day we're pumping out of this place, so it is really exciting.
Toyota Motor Manufacturing leaders like President Mark Perry were quick to praise the support from community leaders and employees over the past 25 years, noting how the plant has expanded its workload. Brandon French, an employee at the plant since 2003, says he's seen the expansion and growth the factory has brought to the area.
Just the fact that it's grown from so small to such a large organization, the impact it's had on the local communities and all the people surrounding and families, but just to be a part of that and to grow along with it, it's just unbelievable. I can't think of another word. It's unbelievable. I could not even dream of progressing through the company, growing, developing, and then just being a part of this organization over 20 years later.
Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle called the manufacturing plant a blueprint on how to integrate into the Rocket City.
This one set the model and put the model in place and said that if you're going to come to Huntsville, you're going to be a company that gives back to community and is part of community. Toyota's done that year after year after year, and they've set up the model that I think everybody else has followed, and that's what makes us a great community.
French says it's always a treat to see the impact from Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Huntsville.
It's a great feeling when you're on the road, you see all these Toyota vehicles, and I can tell my children, my family, we built that engine, we built that engine, we built that engine. Just to have that personal touch of knowing that we've had some impact on all of these vehicles that are in our communities and around.
Toyota Motor Manufacturing also handed out 5 grants to local charity organizations totaling $125,000. Congratulations. Here in the Tennessee Valley at tonight's City Council meeting, council members approved a contract for improvements to the James Record Road Railroad crossing, while also introducing a proposed ordinance aimed at making private parking a lot more transparent. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala has more.
The railroad project includes new warning signals, safety equipment, and a new crossing surface at James Record Road. While the improvements are tied to the Martin Road Phase 2 project, many addressed the council saying they hope the city will look at other crossings as well. Among them was Janya Hawkins, who lost her father in a train accident in 2004.
With today's technology and everyone in the community willing to rally up and be here, we can get this done if the city council will just help us.
Hawkins and others are specifically asking for additional safety measures at the Salty Bottom Road crossing. Last month, a train struck a vehicle there, killing Gurley resident Keegan Scott Davis and his daughter. Davis's father, Johnny Davis, who attended the council meeting, says about 2,800 vehicles travel through that crossing each day.
There's no drop gates and no lights. I'd like to advocate for that getting done.
While the discussion began with railroad safety, it later shifted to an issue many drivers encounter downtown. Parking in a private lot can sometimes feel like a guessing game. How much do you owe? Where do you pay? And what happens if there's a dispute? City Council says this ordinance is meant to clear some of that up. The proposal would require private parking lots to post clear information about rates, hours, contact details, and fees. It would also require a 15-minute grace period for drivers entering and exiting the lot.
We just want to spell it out so that people know when they go into the private parking lot, they're going to be paying to park. And if they don't want to pay to park, they can go elsewhere, maybe park a further distance away and then walk downtown.
The ordinance would also require parking invoices to clearly state they are issued by a private company and not the city. Council members say the goal is to give drivers a better understanding of the rules before they park. In Huntsville, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Tonight's action on the parking ordinance was only its introduction. City council members are expected to take up a final vote on the proposal at their next regular meeting, June 25th.
Welcome back. A new physician care clinic celebrated its grand opening today in North Huntsville. Take a listen. Staff from Huntsville Hospital, alongside leaders from Alabama A&M, celebrated the ribbon cutting this morning. The location looks to serve not just AAMU students, but residents of North Huntsville. Dwayne Mathis, director of the Physician's Office for Huntsville Hospital, describes what services will be available at the clinic.
This is a primary care clinic, so all primary care needs, we will do preventive screenings, physicals for employment and for sports participation, immunizations for folks who may be leaving the country and need to get immunizations, flu shots, preventive maintenance care, general care across the board.
AAMU President Daniel Wim says he's excited to see a healthcare hole filled in the community.
We have a long-standing partnership with Huntsville Hospital, as you know, but we considered this area of town to be somewhat of a healthcare desert. And so I endeavored to work with the leadership at Huntsville Hospital. So this is very important. Our residents in this area will be able to access this very easily, and it will serve our students, faculty, and staff, and the university family, and the population in North Huntsville.
The clinic will open to the public next Monday.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup is officially underway. 48 countries from around the globe are ready to take the pitch across North America with the hopes of being crowned world champions. 16 host cities from the U.S., Canada, and Mexico will be the home of more than 100 matches throughout the summer. Millions are expected to have their eyes glued to the world's biggest stage, including many right here in the Rocket City. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman visited some local spots across the city to see how they're celebrating.
It's finally match day. The 2026 FIFA World Cup has officially kicked off. Soccer fans from around the globe will tune in as the world's biggest stars step onto the world's biggest stage.
The fever is real. People kept telling me it's a big thing here in Huntsville, and man, did everybody show out.
The energy spreading to the Rocket City. A watch party at Field Day Huntsville bringing out a ton of supporters for the kickoff match, celebrating culture and the community.
I think that's the beauty of the World Cup. The World Cup is not just one country, it's all of the countries uniting, coming together, celebrating.
Local spots citywide are also getting in on the World Cup hype. This includes the Poppy and Parliament Pub downtown.
I was here a couple years ago when all this came through again. The energy is always just ups and downs and peaks and troughs when it comes to everyone rooting for their own teams.
Director of Operations Dave Matlock says they are preparing for the celebrations by stocking up on supplies and focusing on creating an atmosphere for the fans.
We kind of stock up on the core, add some extra decor, add some flags and stuff, just to make it feel a little bit more special since it is the World Cup. It only happens every 4 years.
From a staffing perspective, we try to load up with as many people as we can. From a food standpoint and drink standpoint, we buy as much as we can, and then we hope for the best.
Field Day owner Matt Hubbard says it's crucial to be ready for anything, as you never know what to expect when the whistle blows.
Even if they are here for a watch party, we want to make sure they eat a lot of food, drink a lot of drinks, and have a good time. And part of that is getting it to them quickly and something that they really enjoy.
This is only the beginning of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and as you can easily see, the excitement is on display, and it's expected to carry on as the tournament continues. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, FOX54 News.
Oh yeah, lots of fanfare. This is only the beginning of the celebrations here in the Rocket City. Officials are gearing up for even more events as the World Cup kicks off and America's 250th birthday nears. And let's take a look at what our Fox 54 News team verified for you this week. From geese to alligators to who pays for search and rescue operations, we found answers to your questions. Canada geese are a common sight here in Huntsville, but some communities say the birds are becoming too much to handle. Earlier this week, a neighborhood in West Huntsville voted to euthanize its Canada geese population, and that decision is sparking outrage online. But can cities legally exterminate these geese? We verify. For some, geese are a nuisance. For others, they're a majestic part of nature. But for residents in the Edgewater community, years of complaints about the birds have led leaders to consider euthanizing its geese population, and it's drawing strong reactions online. Commenters are calling it cruel, and some are even calling it a federal crime. Others argue the geese have become a quality of life issue, pointing to property damage and large amounts of waste left behind. So where does the law stand? Can communities legally exterminate their geese? We verify. Our sources are the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division. Here's what we found. Under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, it's illegal to kill a Canada goose or its eggs without federal authorization, and that law applies year-round outside of designated hunting seasons. But the key word is authorization. When geese create problems such as property damage, overpopulation, or public safety concerns, local governments can seek federal authorization from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. If approved, those management options can include preventing eggs from hatching, removing nests, relocating birds, or, in some cases, lethal removal. But it's not the first option the law considers. Officials typically consider non-lethal methods first, such as letting grass grow taller to make areas less attractive to geese, using trained dogs to herd them away, or installing barriers near ponds. If those efforts don't work, or if the geese pose a threat to people or public safety, only then may federal officials authorize lethal removal. If a community skips this process and acts on its own, those responsible could face federal prosecution under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. So we can verify that, yes, communities can legally exterminate their goose population, but only with proper federal authorization through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And if you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692.
Alligators. They've been showing up in neighborhood ponds, along walking trails, and even crossing roads here in Huntsville. With more and more recent sightings, many are wondering if these animals are supposed to be here. Well, let's verify. Seeing an alligator in your neighborhood can be a shock, especially if you're new to the Huntsville area. Many people associate alligators with South Alabama or Florida, but wildlife officials say they actually have a history here. So, are alligators native to North Alabama? Let's verify. Our sources tonight are the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources and David Young with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Here's what we found. Alligators have actually been in North Alabama for a very long time, but in the past, sightings were far less common. When spotted, they were most often along the Tennessee River, as well as on Redstone Arsenal and the surrounding areas. So they were here, just not in the numbers we see today. Most residents have even gone their entire lives without ever seeing one, but park ranger David Young says in the late 1970s that all changed when the federal government took action to protect the endangered species.
In the 1970s, the American alligator was added to the endangered species list, and so 1979, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service brought just over 50 alligators from southwest Louisiana to the refuge, Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge here in Decatur, to try to provide a secondary population away from the coast in case some catastrophic event were to wipe out the population on the Gulf Coast.
And that relocation actually worked. Wheeler Refuge became the base for what is now an established North Alabama alligator population. But if you're wondering why sightings are now happening well outside the refuge, it comes down to two things: a growing gator population and a growing city. With more people moving to Huntsville, new neighborhoods are being built in swampy, low-lying areas where alligators thrive, bringing residents face to face with them more often. So we can verify that yes, alligators are native to North Alabama. There were just very few of them, but thanks to that 1979 program, there's more of them here than ever before.
With Rock the South now postponed to October, many people are wondering if they can cancel their transportation and hotel bookings. Multiple hotels in the area are offering rebookings for no extra fees, but if you can't make the new dates, can you still get a refund so close to your booking date? Let's verify. You've booked a weekend of fun, plane tickets, rental car, a hotel room, or maybe even a vacation home. But your plans fall through last minute. Can you still get a refund on your bookings? We verify. Our sources are the United States Department of Transportation, Enterprise, Expedia, and Airbnb refund policies. And the answer depends on what you booked and the terms you agreed to when you made the reservation. For air travel, the Department of Transportation says passengers are generally entitled to a refund if an airline cancels a flight or makes a significant change to the itinerary and the passenger chooses not to travel. But if your flight is operating as scheduled and you purchased a non-refundable ticket, you likely won't be eligible for a refund just because your plans changed. For rental cars, Enterprise says many reservations can be modified or canceled before pickup. If you haven't prepaid, there's generally no cancellation fee. However, prepaid reservations may come with cancellation fees, especially if they're canceled within 24 hours of the scheduled pickup time. When it comes to hotels, Expedia says many properties offer full refunds until a cancellation deadline, but some rooms are non-refundable, especially when the booking date is just days away. Vacation rentals can vary too. Airbnb says refunds are generally available when a host cancels or there's a problem with the property, but guests who simply can't make the new dates may be subject to the cancellation policy they agreed to when they booked. So we can verify that no, there is not a guaranteed refund for travel bookings made less than a week in advance. Whether you get your money back depends on the type of booking, the company's policy, and the terms of your reservation.
Cities across Alabama are dealing with the fallout from this weekend's rain, causing major flooding both here in the Tennessee Valley and as far south as Birmingham. And with flash flooding, there are inevitably water rescues for those who get caught out in the storms. But who pays for those rescues? If you and your car get stuck and have to be towed out, do you have to pay the bill too? Let's verify. The Morgan County Rescue Squad has been busy the last couple of days. They've been deployed to a capsized boat on the Tennessee River and a submerged truck and boat trailer at Hickory Hills boat ramp. Getting caught in a flood can be scary, but it can also be expensive. Who pays for these emergency rescues? We verify. Our sources are the Owens Crossroads Deputy Fire Chief and LegalClarity.org. Here's what we found. According to LegalClarity.com, most search and rescue operations in the U.S. cost the person being rescued nothing. These operations are considered a public safety function, funded the same way police and fire departments are. These agencies want people to call for help without worrying about a bill.
We're a public service here through the City of Owens Crossroads. We are the City of Owens Crossroads Fire Department, and so no, everything we do is supplied by the city.
There are a few states that have carved out exceptions for people whose own poor judgment created the emergency. New Hampshire and Maine have such laws. But don't worry, Alabama is not among them. Here's where some of the confusion often lies, though. The search and rescue is usually free, but the ambulance ride or helicopter flight that takes you to the hospital for medical treatment is not. Any necessary medical services as a result of the rescue are treated just like any other hospital stay, leaving it up to your insurance. So we can verify that no, you don't have to pay for your own search and rescue. However, your best bet is to avoid such scenarios altogether. If you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692.
Let's wrap up with a preview of a popular annual event in Huntsville. Black Restaurant Week starts today, and here's a look at what you can expect.
it is that time of year again. Black Restaurant Week is back in Huntsville for its 11th year. The 9-day celebration brings together local food, culture, and community to the Rocket City. Organizers say this year's celebration will be more educational and inclusive, while also highlighting the much anticipated Rocket City Juneteenth Freedom Festival at Big Spring Park. And then organizers emphasize the importance of supporting small businesses.
We want to let people know that these businesses do exist. As these large restaurants come into the city, we want to let people know that Huntsville does have a culture of good food, and these small businesses who have been around for quite some time, we don't want to lose sight of the importance of who they are and what they mean to our community.
A full list of Black-owned restaurants participating in the celebration, you can go to FOX54.com.
Thank you for watching Fox 54's Weekend Review. Count on Fox 54 Plus to bring you more great programming with in-depth local specials, Locked On Sports, true crime, cooking shows, wellness experts, and continuing weather coverage. For everyone at Fox 54 News, I'm Kenesha Dees. Have a great weekend.